Not everything that happens in our lives, every single event or circumstance, is our ultimate destiny or fate. Our institution, our label, and nothing else forever, it's not necessary. After the special military operation, we were predicted economic collapse, complete isolation, and the country leadership transforming into pariahs. But here are the statistics, not our statistics, but statistics from Western banks. And including the World Bank, they say that Russia is now the fourth largest economy in the world by purchasing power parity, after the USA, China, and India, and the largest economy in Europe, by the same criterion. If you look at the incantations about our isolation, then here too, the Shanghai events, and last year the BRICS summit in Kazan, they have clearly and unequivocally proven that all of this is utter nonsense, invented solely and exclusively so that certain influential Western countries can publicly and ostentatiously wave their national flags, proudly claiming that they are still the preeminent and leading group of sovereign states in the entire world, and forcefully compelling everyone to live by the specific rules and established norms upon which the global world order should be fundamentally based. A good example regarding how much the global South, the countries of the world majority, are inclined to follow the requests, positions, and lately, more and more often, the demands of the West, is the reaction of Brazil, India, and the People's Republic of China to the threat from the United States to impose prohibitive tariffs as punishment for continuing to trade with the Russian Federation, primarily for the continued purchase of our energy resources. None of these countries, and these are great nations, leaders of the world majority, agreed to any deal or abandoned their legitimate national interests. Such actions by our Western colleagues, and here Europe perhaps plays an even more harmful, negative role. For the future of the world economy, they are only undermining the interests, the objective interests, of the peoples of those countries that refuse profitable deals and cheap raw materials, just in order, as they see it, to punish the exporter for its so-called improper behavior. We have no desire whatsoever to take revenge on anyone or to take out our anger on someone. In general, we believe that anger is a poor advisor, and the desire for revenge is a poor advisor as well. We absolutely, and this was once again confirmed by the President when he spoke in Vladivostok right after returning from the autumn marathon in the People's Republic of China, he stated very clearly that we have not severed relations with anyone and we are not planning to ignore anyone. When our former Western partners, now simply neighbors, come to their senses and wish to come to the Russian Federation, and if they want to work here again, we will not push them away, but we will see under what conditions this can be done. And of course, we will take into account that, having fled at the command of their political leaders, they have shown their unreliability. We have never tried to weaken anyone, never tried to cause anyone any harm, and have always been ready for honest joint work. And while the West tried to fragment both the former socialist bloc and the Soviet Union, and then the Russian Federation, we have always tried to unite. It was precisely this approach that formed the basis for the creation of the Commonwealth of Independent States. The idea was to combine our efforts, not to be left alone in a weakened state, but to make the most of the legacy that our motherland, in the form of the Soviet Union, left us. They started saying that we would build a multipolar world without the West. We live on a very small planet. And the Western way would be to build Berlin walls, figurative walls between ourselves and our vast Eurasian space, which used to be the Soviet Union and is now the post-Soviet space. We don't want to build any walls. We want to work honestly. And if our counterparts are ready for the same, on an equal and mutually respectful basis, we are ready for dialogue with everyone. And by the way, this was very clearly demonstrated by the negotiations in Alaska between Presidents Putin and Trump. The difference between this administration and its predecessors during Biden's rule, as well as many so-called European leaders, is that they are not only willing to listen, but they are willing to hear. And the conversation in Anchorage also showed President Trump and his team's understanding of the need to resolve all issues, including the Ukrainian crisis, on the basis of respect for the national interests, the legitimate national interests of all parties involved. Including in the case of Ukraine, of course, addressing the root causes of this crisis, when for many years the West poured billions of dollars into Ukraine in order to create a regime there that would be completely obedient to them. Our American colleagues have already understood and publicly stated that NATO should be a closed topic, and this is one of the main reasons why the situation in Ukraine arose. And they are starting to hear what we are saying about other root causes, including the eradication, legislative eradication, of the entire Russian language, media, culture, education, and of course the ban of the canonical Ukrainian Orthodox Church. When our American counterparts in Alaska heard that the church was banned by law, President Trump was simply, astonished. In our foreign policy concept, it is clearly stated that the main task of all our work is to ensure the most favorable external conditions possible to guarantee the country's security, its socio-economic development, and the improvement of our citizens' well-being. And the fact that this interconnection exists was proven by the events related to the imposition of illegitimate, unilateral, and unprecedented sanctions against us, when they specifically tried to undermine this very task, the main task of our diplomacy, which is to create favorable external conditions and to make our situation unbearable, counting on us to throw up our hands and run to apologize. No, they attacked us, you see. And I'm amazed that the West still can't draw any conclusions from centuries of history, given its repeated attempts to rein in, subdue, and punish Russia. Our goals are very simple. We want equal cooperation with all countries, including the United States. They show a similar interest. What opportunities? Well, for example, the Arctic. I've already listed them, including joint work on liquefied natural gas production, both here and in Alaska. We have others besides the Arctic. There are projects that Western businesses are interested in, including on Sakhalin. There are also, in principle, the vast expanses of Siberia, probably the richest part not only of Eurasia, but of the entire world when it comes to natural resources. There's also space. I have no doubt that in the field of high technology, including artificial intelligence, cooperation could be established, although here, given the potential military applications of artificial intelligence, it may be necessary to first build greater mutual trust. But there are absolutely no limits whatsoever to our joint actions, to our collaborative efforts and endeavors, as long as our fundamental interests genuinely align. If the United States is truly interested in producing significantly more liquefied natural gas, we are certainly interested in that particular aspect as well, and it is something we are actively pursuing. If both we and they are interested in the Arctic is our common home, especially considering the Trump administration's interest in Greenland. And if there is interest in space, which is clearly the case, this is an area where our partnership has never been interrupted. It was an amazing masterclass and such a powerful motivation for everyone present.